headlines and our top focus. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has stated that Israeli hostages held in Gaza are coming home as a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas enters its second day. Now, speaking at a rally in Tel Aviv's Hostages Square, Witkoff has addressed thousands gathered, telling the families of the captives that their courage had moved the world. Listen in to his comments.
Your courage has moved this world, I say to the families. You have prayed through endless nights and never let the world forget who your loved ones are. And in this way, you honor and you bless them. Your endurance, your faith, your will to live have been symbols of the human spirit that cannot ever be broken. And now, as you return to the embrace of your families and your nation, know that all of Israel and the entire world stands ready to welcome you home with open arms and endless love.
He was joined by fellow senior advisor to the U.S. President, Jared Kushner, who praised Israel's resilience through what he called a traumatic and unthinkable experience. Meanwhile, Witkoff and Kushner have visited the Gaza Strip as well as preparations continue for the release of the hostages, both living and deceased, under the terms of the new peace deal, as well as increased humanitarian aid that is being sent to Gaza. We do know that the Rafah crossing is slated to open very, very soon. Hundreds of aid trucks are already queued outside, just waiting to deliver the aid to the Palestinian people who are now finally heading home. With us on the broadcast is Dr. Wael Awad. He's a Middle East affairs expert joining us from New Delhi. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. Two very important leaders in the Trump administration, advisors, in fact, Witkoff and Kushner, they visited Israel, they visited the Gaza Strip as well. There's a crucial summit that is slated to take place tomorrow, which will be co-chaired by Trump and President El-Sisi of Egypt. Now, in this context, we're also seeing aid trucks being lined up at the Egyptian side of the Rafah border crossing. But what else is really needed by the people of Gaza urgently, because several of them are heading home, but their homes have been completely obliterated, destroyed. Medical facilities are not available because hospitals too have been bombarded.
I think that's what you have already stated in your comment. It is perfectly right that the people of the Gaza required food, they required medicine, they required shelters, they required all the basics of a humanities that they should be able to at least have a kind of relaxations on their, even in the open air. But because of the current Israeli embargo and banning any entry of any material into the Gaza Strip, still the suffering of the Palestinians continue. If we could see what the UN agencies have been saying, that they will be needing a minimum of 600 convoys of trucks that should be entering Gaza daily to meet the requirement of the people. Remember, there are 2.3 million Palestinians that are besieged in Gaza, and for the last 2 years they have been subjected to all kind of famine and humiliation. So I think these are the basic where they required, and most of the hospital destroyed. There is no way that they can be taken. So the makeshift hospitals, emergency hospitals should be allowed the paramedicals to enter into Gaza to make sure that they will be able to treat the injured, because we know all this, that this war have left behind more than 67,000 people have been killed, more than 182,000 people have been injured, families have been totally obliterated. So there will be requirement also for heavy machinery to search under the rubble for the remaining one of those family lost their loved one.
Indeed. And speaking of the meeting that is slated to take place tomorrow, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres will be present. Several European leaders will also be there, including Keir Starmer, Macron, Pedro Sanchez of Spain, who's been a vociferous critic of Israel, as well as Giorgia Meloni. What are your expectations from this crucial Gaza Peace Summit slated to take place in Egypt?
Well, I think it's a very important summit, despite the fact that this is a very fragile ceasefire. But what President Trump of the United States is trying to sell his own peace plan, that he was the only president in this world who made the Israelis succumb to his pressure and brought them to the table and halted all their genocide against the Palestinians. So therefore, gathering those top leaders, he wanted to sell this agreement. He wanted to have a permanent ceasefire in that region, and he wanted to make sure that Israel's normalized relation with maximum number of Arab countries. However, what we are understanding that Mr. Prime Minister Netanyahu having a B plan, it may sabotage all the effort by the United States in case he break the ceasefire and he go back that the Hamas did not fulfill the terms of the Israelis. So therefore, I think there are lots of pressure. We are expecting that some sort of a positive result should come. But however, we are very pessimistic, being people of this region, that we have not seen any, continuous commitment or adherence to the commitment Israelis made throughout the years.
All right, sir, requesting you to stay on with us as we're tracking some other very crucial developments from the Middle East. Meanwhile, in the West Bank, families are waiting anxiously as prisoner releases begin under the landmark ceasefire agreement. This, of course, marks the first tangible sign of calm after months of war. Scenes of anticipation are unfolding in towns and refugee camps where relatives are hanging flags, preparing food and gathering outside homes to welcome their loved ones. Local communities say that these reunions symbolize more than just personal relief. They represent a fragile step towards healing after years of conflict and loss. Let's in fact listen in to what some of them have had to say.
احنا بالراكبة بنستنى على الأخبار، بنستنى يعني بنشوف، بنقول ها شو بقولوا شو بصير شو يعني، والحمد لله أجل خير إن شاء الله. دي فرحة فيش بعدها فرحة، الحمد لله يعني فرحنا الحمد لله. إن شاء الله يا رب يتم هالفرحة يا رب، ويروحوا علينا سالمين وغانمين يا الله، يفرجها على جميع الناس المتضايقة تحتك يا رب.
والله يا عمي ماني عارف، وإن شاء الله بروحوا هن، إن شاء الله بروحوا هن. الواحد بشوفهم إن بل يطلعوا برا ما بقدر أروح أشوفهم، لا أنا ولا من، أنا مش قادرين نمشي. هي بتمشي على الوكر وأنا جري وصبتني جلطة، شايف كيف؟ ومش قادر والله، ما أنا قادر.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. والله هاي أحلى فرحة، إن الواحد يحتضن أبوه ويروح من بعد عمر، يعني كان عمري 9 سنوات يوم ما أسر، وطبعا الزيارات كانت مقطوعة، يعني إلي بحوالي 8 سنوات ما شفته، فيش زيارات، ما فيش إشي، لأن كانوا يتحكموا بالتساريح، إن ما يعطونا تساريح. وإن شاء الله الحمد لله رب العالمين هذه الفرحة، والله يعم السلام يا رب على الجميع.